Welcome to section 17.2, part 4. This is the 178th session of the CISSP exam prep series. This part covers how detection systems respond, where they live, and their inline cousin. In this session, we'll go deeper into how these systems act and deploy. We'll answer several questions. How does an intrusion detection system respond to an event? What is the difference between a host-based and a network-based system? Why is encrypted traffic such a challenge? And what exactly is a network-based prevention system? Why does this matter beyond the exam? Because knowing a tool exists is not the same as placing it well. Picture a financial services team deciding whether to put sensors on every laptop at the network core, or both. Get the placement and response mode right, and you see attacks early and stop them cleanly. Get it wrong, and you either drown in noise or miss the intrusion entirely. On the job, these are the design calls that shape whether monitoring actually works. How does an intrusion detection system respond to an event? Both signature and behavior systems trigger on an alert, then respond in one of two ways. A passive response logs the event and sends a notification by email, text, or a report, often on the big screens in a round-the-clock operations center. An active response goes further, changing the environment to block the activity. For example, on spotting a flood from one address, it can rewrite firewall rules to drop that traffic, and against a ping flood from many sources, it can block the offending traffic type. Administrators configure these active responses in advance. Think of a passive alarm that just rings versus an active one that also locks the doors. What separates a host-based from a network-based system? It comes down to what each one watches. A host-based system monitors a single computer, inspecting its processes and its system, application, and firewall logs. It can see fine detail, even pinpointing the exact files an attacker touched, and it can catch a remote takeover of that host. A network-based system watches traffic across the whole network, using sensors at key points like routers and switches. Each has trade-offs. Host-based systems cost more to manage per machine, consume local resources, and can be disabled by an intruder on the box. So many organizations reserve them for key servers. Network-based systems centralize administration and barely dent performance. Picture a guard posted inside one vault versus cameras covering every hallway. Why is encrypted traffic such a challenge for these systems? Because most internet traffic is encrypted, and a detection system cannot inspect what it cannot read. Imagine a user unknowingly connecting to a malicious site over an encrypted session. The bad payload rides inside that encryption, invisible to the monitor, and slips right through. Attackers exploit this deliberately, and botnets often use encrypted channels to hide their check-ins. The common answer is a decryptor that intercepts the encrypted session, decrypts the traffic for inspection, then re-encrypts it. But it has a blind spot. If an attacker encrypts data on the host before it ever enters that session, the decryptor cannot open it. Think of a sealed envelope you can steam open at the mailroom, unless the sender used a second lock you have no key for. What exactly is a network-based prevention system? It is a special kind of active detection system placed directly in line with the traffic. Because every packet must flow through it, it can analyze each one and choose what to forward and what to block, stopping an attack before it ever reaches the target. Contrast that with an active detection system that is not in line. It can only react after the traffic has already arrived, so it responds to an attack in progress rather than preventing it. A clear industry trend is replacing detection systems with prevention systems by moving them in line. Picture the difference between a bouncer who checks everyone at the door and a guard who only reacts once a troublemaker is already inside. So let's bring it together. Detection systems respond passively by logging and notifying, or actively by changing the environment to block. Host-based systems watch one machine in fine detail, while network-based systems watch broad traffic with central management. Encrypted traffic hides threats, and decryptors help but cannot open data encrypted before the session. And a prevention system sits in line to block attacks before they land, which is why the trend is to move detection in line and let it prevent. Place these tools well, and your network gains both eyes and reflexes. The MCQs covering all the topics and concepts from this session are available on rucloud.com. Practice the chapter-specific MCQs before moving on to the next session. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or feedback, post a comment below or email us. I will see you in the next session.